You already know the answer to why absolute power corrupts absolutely, but we refuse to accept its terrifying psychological consequence for the controller. Jim Jones understood it. Every dictator since antiquity has lived it. And its truth unravels the very fabric of identity. What happens inside the mind that wields such absolute, destructive power? We're going to peel back the layers of the tyrant's mind and discover its ultimate, inescapable prison. The illusion of absolute control. A fragile foundation, this is where it gets chilling. We look at someone like Jones, or any despot really, and we think they're free, completely unbound. They certainly think they are. They mistakenly equate ultimate freedom with ultimate control over others, believing this external mastery will stabilize their entire internal world. They crave that feeling, that stillness in their own head, the one they can never quite find. Why do you keep doing this to yourself, chasing something outside when the real fight is inside? It starts subtle. This behavior, this compulsion, it's rooted in something basic, like operant conditioning but twisted. You demand, they obey. You twist reality, they accept it. It's gaslighting on a societal scale, creating a reality where you asterisk dictate all terms. Every single one. It makes sense, right? If everyone agrees asterisk you are right, then you must be. It's a feedback loop from hell, reinforcing their own distorted perceptions. But philosophically, this isn't freedom at all. It's the exact opposite. It's a desperate externalization of internal chaos, a will to power that completely blinds the individual to genuine self-mastery. They're so busy mastering others, they forget how to master themselves. Think of the playground bully demanding obedience. They never look truly happy or secure, do they? That's the first crack in the illusion. They're constantly afraid someone will challenge them, always watching for rebellion. Their power is just a thin veneer over their own deep insecurity. And here's the unsettling implication, the real gut punch. The more control you try to exert over others, the less control you actually retain over your own authentic self and inner peace. You become a prisoner of your own creation, forced to constantly monitor, to manipulate, to crush any dissent. Because without it, your carefully constructed reality collapses. True power is not over others, but over the self, and the tyrant seeds this truth with every command. They give away their very soul for the illusion of dominion. They build a fortress around themselves, but forget the walls are also asterisk inward-facing asterisk. They trap themselves completely. Your own creation, forced to constantly monitor, to manipulate, to crush any dissent, because without it, your carefully constructed reality collapses. True power is not over others, but over the self, and the tyrant seeds this truth with every command. They give away their very soul for the illusion of dominion. They build a fortress around themselves, but forget the walls are also asterisk inward-facing asterisk. They trap themselves completely. And this trap, this self-imposed cage, it immediately starts whispering. Welcome to the feedback loop of paranoia, constructing a prison of suspicion. Because here's the thing, every single time you manipulate someone, every command you issue to control, every lie you tell to maintain that fragile reality, it doesn't just impact them. It creates a reaction, a ripple, You force people to play a part, to hide their true feelings, to conform. And what do you get back from them? Not genuine loyalty. Not real trust. You get compliance born of fear. And that fear, it bounces right back at you. Because those who manipulate, those who expertly coerce, they start to expect it from everyone else. It's a twisted form of projection. A deep, gnawing cognitive dissonance. If you know you'd lie to get what you want, how can you ever believe someone else isn't lying to you? You can't. You assume everyone is operating on your level, with your tactics. Remember that friend who always suspected everyone was talking about them. That's a flicker of this pervasive, self-generated suspicion, amplified to a terrifying degree. For the tyrant, their world becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of treachery. They push people away with their control, they foster resentment. They create an environment where rebellion is inevitable. Then, when a whisper of dissent emerges, they scream, "See! I knew it. They are out to get me." They see their deepest fears constantly, confirmed by their own actions, by the very conditions they created. The walls close in. Trust erodes completely, not just in others, but even in your own ability to discern objective reality. Is that person genuinely loyal, or are they just afraid? Is that smile sincere, or is it a mask? You live in a constant, exhausting state of hypervigilance. Every glance, every hushed conversation, every slight hesitation becomes a potential threat. Because if you can't trust anyone else, if you can't even trust your own perceptions, what's left? The echo chamber of absolute control only amplifies whispers into threats, turning allies into adversaries within the mind. Your own mind becomes the ultimate prison warden. It's a terrifying, lonely place. Your own mind becomes the ultimate prison warden. It's a terrifying, lonely place. Segment 3 title, Isolation by Design. The crown of solitude, and from that internal prison, you then start building walls in the real world. To maintain and consolidate that absolute power, you systematically cut off all genuine connection. It's not just a side effect, it's a design choice. You eliminate anyone who might offer an unfiltered truth, anyone who could challenge your perspective with actual empathy. This means constant, strict information control. What people hear, what they see, even what they think they know. Loyalty tests become daily rituals. You purge anyone who even might disagree, or worse, anyone who sees through the illusion you've crafted. That creates a cult of personality, where you're not just a leader, but an untouchable, godlike figure. Everyone around you learns to parrot your beliefs, to reflect your glory, because their very survival depends on it. Imagine being locked in a magnificent room, knowing everyone outside fears you, but no one truly loves or understands you. That's the tyrant's daily reality. From a social psychology perspective, it's chillingly predictable. The leader who instills an us versus them mentality to rally the troops eventually becomes the ultimate them. You separate yourself so completely from the us that you become an entity apart. Your protection isn't from loyalty or shared purpose anymore, but only from fear and subservience. You stand at the top of a pyramid built from isolation. The ultimate leader becomes the ultimate loner. You've sacrificed the most fundamental human need for connection, for belonging, for true understanding, all for domination. The throne of absolute power is cast from the deepest solitude, where every nod of agreement is a silent betrayal of self. You've built this impenetrable wall of fear around yourself, and now you're trapped behind it. No one can get in, and you can't get out. Okay, you're trapped behind that wall of fear. What happens next is even more insidious. You become a character, not just for public consumption, but for your own consumption. Every single interaction, every word, every look, every calculated silence, it's all part of a constant, exhausting performance. You have to project an image of absolute infallibility, of knowing everything, controlling everything. It's like being perpetually on stage, playing the role of the unshakable leader 24 hours a day. When you've played a demanding role for too long, like an actor who can't leave character, that's the internal echo. But for the tyrant, there is no off-stage. There's no moment to breathe, no place to shed the costume. That constant projection, that relentless need to be perceived a certain way, it doesn't just fool others. It profoundly distorts who you are inside. Your internal sense of self. Your actual identity. It gets tangled, warped, then finally erased. Think about it, you tell so many lies. So many manipulations. So many fabricated realities, all crafted to keep you on top, to maintain that iron grip. And after enough time, after repeating those fabrications to your inner circle, to the masses, even to yourself in the dark, you actually start to believe them. The persona isn't just a mask anymore. It actively consumes you. The person you once were, the real messy, flawed human beneath the facade, starts to dissolve, fading into the character you painstakingly created. There's no distinction left. This erosion, this complete absorption into a fabricated self, it leads to a terrifying psychological depersonalization. Not just of the people around you, but of yourself. When everyone around you is just a tool, or a threat, or an adoring fan without a true thought, you stop seeing their humanity. They become pawns, or obstacles. Their pain, their joy, utterly irrelevant to your grand design. And if you can't see the humanity in others, you certainly can't see it in yourself. You become empty, a hollowed-out shell. Your own past self, your own authentic feelings, they're just inconvenient baggage discarded along the way. Authenticity, vulnerability, these become dangerous liabilities. So you discard them, systematically, ruthlessly. What's left behind is this fragmented, hollow core, an echo where a person used to be. You, the person who sought to control every single thing, every narrative, every life, every breath, you don't control anymore. You become a phantom, utterly controlled by the very image you so painstakingly, so destructively built. The mask of invincibility becomes the prison of identity, suffocating the last vestiges of who you truly were. Jim Jones knew it. Every tyrant knows it in their bones. This isn't power. This is ultimate, inescapable self-destruction. Segment 5 title, The Inevitable Collapse. A self-inflicted implosion. That phantom, it's not a real person, is it? It's a constant performance, a rigid, suffocating mask. And masks, they get heavy. They crack. You've built this elaborate, impossible structure around yourself, piece by careful, manipulative piece. But what happens when that structure finally gives way? Think of a grand dam designed to hold back a river. One crack, then another, and the whole structure is compromised, leading to inevitable, catastrophic collapse. That's what happens inside the tyrant's mind. The sheer, relentless pressure of keeping every single narrative in place, every person under your thumb, every potential whisper of dissent crushed. It's simply unsustainable for any human mind. It has to break. Your mind, it wasn't built for that kind of sustained, absolute control. It starts to fray. You're isolated, right? No one truly knows you anymore, because you cease to exist the moment you don that mask. Only the illusion remains. And with that profound isolation, the paranoia grows into a monster. Every shadow is a potential threat. Every glance a betrayal. You become convinced everyone is out to get you, because you've spent so much energy projecting that exact fear onto others. It burns you out completely. We saw it in Jim Jones. The drug abuse, the frantic, nonsensical directives, the shocking physical decline. That's not just external pressure breaking him. That's your own executive function. Dissolving. Your ability to think clearly, to make rational choices, it just breaks down under the psychological weight. This leads to a catastrophic narcissistic collapse, an implosion of the grand image you built. The one that demanded you be perfect, omniscient, invincible. It shatters under the weight of its own impossible demands. The architecture of absolute control is inherently unstable, designed to collapse under the weight of its own terrible ambition. This isn't just an external coup or a rebellion finally rising up, though those often follow. This is an internal implosion. From the inside out. Your own terrible ambition, the very engine that drove you to this absolute power, becomes the architect of your destruction. The manipulation of human will, that ultimate weapon you wielded so expertly, it finally turns inward. It twists your own perception, poisons your own thoughts, until you become utterly consumed by the very dark forces you unleashed. The controller becomes the controlled, a prisoner in a cell of their own making. The terrible ambition, it's the engine that drove you to absolute power. But it becomes the architect of your own destruction. Think about it, that manipulation of human will, that ultimate weapon you wielded so expertly, it finally turns inward. It twists your own perception, poisons your own thoughts, until you become utterly consumed by the very dark forces you unleashed. The controller becomes the controlled, a prisoner in a cell of your own making. The true price. It's the annihilation of the human spirit. The final, most profound consequence for the controller isn't just death or losing your grip on power. It's a complete erasure of who you are, of any genuine meaning. Imagine what that feels like. A life devoid of genuine trust, because who could you ever trust? No reciprocal love. No authentic connection. Nothing but an existential void. A profound, inescapable emptiness that echoes inside you, day and night. This isn't just theory. When you look into the eyes of someone completely broken, devoid of hope, you see the reflection of this ultimate cost, a soul hollowed out. It's an ultimate state of meaninglessness. The grand pursuit of power, the very thing you thought would elevate you, it strips away everything that makes a human life worthwhile. You sought power to escape vulnerability, right? To be safe. Instead, you created the most agonizing, inescapable form of human suffering imaginable. It's a self-constructed hell, and you're the only inhabitant. The ultimate prize of absolute power is not freedom, but a meticulously constructed hell where the only inhabitant is yourself. We began by asking why the relentless pursuit of psychological power inevitably leads to profound isolation, paranoia, and self-destruction. Perhaps the answer was never in understanding the tyrant, but in recognizing that true strength lies in a vulnerability they could never comprehend. But this raises a question that took me somewhere I wasn't prepared for. How does one cultivate resilience and genuine connection in a world increasingly susceptible to the lure of control? That's the next one.